Well, folks, this is Stein North. I just noticed that Jim and Rory struck out on a little bit of a hike. Now, I'm not one for selfie sticks, but I just happened to pick one up. I thought, well, I need to catch up with the rest of the folks and start maybe using a selfie stick. So, oh, and excuse me, I'm having a smoke. I know, it's terrible. It's a bad thing. We just got back from town, and I decided, well, I saw those two heading out for a hike, so I thought, well, I'm going to head out too, see if I can catch up with them. Well, during this hike, I thought, well, I'll get into some kind of discussion, a sty story or something of that nature. So I'm going to treat this kind of like a sty story. I'm going to just, I guess I'm going to tell you folks about a few little lines that I have heard over the years from other individuals. And just for your entertainment, I guess. And I had a viewer ask me a question that was in the area of discussing bear encounters, and they asked me what I thought about using bear spray, and I told them how I felt about bear spray. But I'm going to do a video about bear encounters, being that it's spring and you're more apt to have a negative bear encounter during the spring when bears are coming out of their dens and the females have cubs. So I'll do a video about that. But it made me think of some things that people have told me in the past about bears. And so I thought, well, I'll do a couple stories about bears. Well, one, this one's kind of like, well, the joke was on me. When I lived out west, this fella shared a camp with me, and he said, well, he says, you know, I was up here in the back country one time. He said, had my camp all set up, and he said, I had just finished my supper, and he said, all of a sudden this young bear comes into the camp. And he said he thought, oh no. He looked and he said, my gun was so far away from me I couldn't get to my gun before that bear could get to me. And he said all of a sudden that bear looked, and next to the guy was a stump. And on that stump the guy had put a deck of cards. Well, the bear came up and to that stump, and he's looking at that deck of cards. All of a sudden that bear sits down, shuffles the cards, and deals out a couple of hands of cards, like he wants to play poker. And this fella tells me, he says, so I thought, why not? Let's see if that bear can play poker. So he sat there, and for 2 hours he played poker with that bear. And then he started thinking, well, you know, this bear's taking me for a ride. He's pretty good at playing poker. So he said, I decided, well, I got to win. It's one way or another. I'm losing money to this bear. All of a sudden, this big female bear comes storming into the camp. And that guy thought, oh no, this isn't good. And she looked angry. She didn't even look at the camper, at this guy. She looked at that young bear, and all of a sudden she stood up on her hind legs, and she goes, Junior, you know you're not supposed to play with your food. Now eat your dinner and get yourself back to the den. That's a little backwoods story that you tell around the campfire. Okay. Now another one. Here's something. This is a little more true to life. This is not a joke. Excuse me. Well, I had this fella that he wanted to go up in the backcountry, and he was from that neck of the woods, so he knew the area real well. So I thought, well, Yeah, I'd like to go camping with this guy. And, well, we get together and we're taking up a couple of pack animals. And I notice he's wearing tennis shoes. And I'm wearing heavy hiking boots. And I said to him, I said, "Hey, Harold, why are you wearing tennis shoes? We're going to be in some rugged country. Why would you want to be wearing tennis shoes?" He says, "Well, I really don't like to wear tennis shoes in this kind of rugged country, but," he said, I really, it's bear country, so I figure I should wear tennis shoes." And I said, "Well, what good are tennis shoes going to do you? You can't outrun a bear." He says, "I don't need to outrun the bear. I only have to outrun you." That made me think a little bit. Well, then I had another fella that I took up into the backcountry. He was a city slicker. He didn't know much about the outdoors at all. And we were sitting around the campfire the first night out, and he goes, "Boy, I'm glad we haven't run into any bears." And I said, "Well, yeah, we're pretty fortunate." I said, "Especially in this neck of the woods, because we have grizzlies around here." And he goes, "Oh my gosh." Now, mind you, this fella's probably about 15, 20 years younger than I am. And he said, "Well, one nice thing is if we have a grizzly chase us," he says, "I know I can outrun you." And I thought back to what Harold did to me with his tennis shoe story. And I said to him, I said, "It doesn't matter if you can outrun me or not." And he goes, "Well, if I can outrun you, the bear's going to get you first." And I said, "The minute that bear comes on me, he's going to let go of me and he's going to go right after you." And he goes, "Why would he do that?" And I said, "Bear doesn't want to eat anything that's covered in poop and has peed himself." So I said, "He's going to go after you." Now that left him thinking a little bit. So here we are. I'm hiking down the road, heading down towards Lake Superior, and I see my co-workers, our founder and Rory, way down there. I'm going to turn the camera so you can see them. I don't know if you can see them or not. Maybe I'm not close enough. But they are there. They're probably about 1.5 football fields from me down there. So I'll keep moving along, and thanks for coming along. Just hearing a couple of little tales from Sty. Sty out here checking out this selfie stick for a change. We'll see how that goes. I'm hoping to be able to use the selfie stick when I'm going to be doing probably a 3-day, either a 3 or 4 day, 2 or 3 night outing. And I'm also going to do what I call the 4-hour mile. Now, you can typically hike 2 miles an hour at your leisure. I will, on occasion, go out and do 1 mile in 4 hours. The reasoning in that is the discipline it takes to cover just 1 mile and make yourself do it in 4 hours. You don't want to do it less than 4 hours. And it's amazing the things that you will see, hear, observe when you take that kind of time on a hike. You should all get out there and try that sometime. Do a 4-hour mile. But I'll be doing a video on my 4-hour mile, and I'll get some more use out of a selfie stick, I guess. So this is Sty North. Jim and Rory say hi, and we'll catch you all in the next video. You all have a nice day.